yeah, I might not have strength in me right now to run my race, but
Yes.
I'm putting myself in the right environment.
Yes.
So the environment's helping me go in the right direction.
When he heard God the first time, it was in a time where that was not a common experience. And he listened and he was faithful to steward what God had told him.
Welcome to Destiny Conversations. Today we have an amazing opportunity. Me and my wife are going to be talking about our walk with God. And we're joined by a special guest in the audience, our youngest, Briggs. And so you might be hearing him talk to you also. So he's just cheering us on as we have this conversation.
There you
So
go.
I hope you enjoy that. But over to my beautiful wife. Why don't you say hi?
Hey Sam, how are you doing? Hey, anybody who's
doing-
listening to this?
I'm doing good.
Okay.
I look forward to this. Obviously, I know you very well, and you know me very
We can
well.
talk.
We grew up together in this church.
Fun fact.
Yeah, since we were what?
I was 11.
Yeah.
You were 10.
Yes. So.
Fun fact, I'm older
Yeah,
than
yeah,
Sam
all right.
by 5 months, 27 days. So,
Yes. She has it all mapped out on the
yes.
calendar. So this is a pleasure for me to be able to.
We don't get these opportunities.
Right.
Because there are a lot of children talking.
This is like a date night for us. And so this is going to be amazing. We have a few questions we're going to be going through. But we want to have this podcast. This is our first of, I hope, many. This podcast, we feel like we have a rich history at this church. We have many amazing people
Yes.
that have been here for many years and even just a couple years.
Just joining.
And we want to give space and an opportunity to hear people's stories, to talk about people's walk with God, maybe experiences with God.
Yes.
We just want to keep growing. And so this is just another platform that we can do that. Sermons are great. Our Sunday morning services are amazing, but we also want to get down and a little more personal with our walk with God. So thank you for joining us, and please tune in on the ones that are coming up. We're going to have a great time here. So, anything else we need to talk about?
I don't know.
How's your life going right now? You have 5 kids, 1 husband, and
Yeah, life's wild. Life's
Yeah.
busy. Life's fast-paced, but it's full of, like you said on Sunday, everything that we prayed for. So
Yes.
it's managing blessings and getting capacity to hold them well.
right.
I don't know, Sam, how's it going?
It's going pretty good.
Yeah.
I've got an amazing partner that's holding my arms up when I'm weak. And so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for being so amazing.
Oh, you too.
So yeah, and I've been lead pastor here for maybe a couple years. Pastor Steve's still around and preaching on Sunday, and we're really thankful for everything Mom and Dad have done.
Yes.
Not just for this church, but for the community.
Yes.
They've poured into a lot of people's lives, so got to give a big shout out to them right now.
Yeah. Standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah. And we have many amazing people that are still here in our church, and so all those people have been so supportive and are a great blessing in our life.
Yes.
And we give credit to them and, of course, God, but to where we are in our own lives.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about our walk with God, where it started, some of our maybe even trials through our life.
Yeah.
And let's just get started on that. The first question they have for us here is, when did you get saved?
It's such a fun answer because when you grow up around this, it's like,
Right.
where was the moment? I mean, I remember the first time I was 4. My dad, he goes, and I grew up in a Christian home.
Yeah.
Like, they loved Jesus, they loved the word, they loved all of it. So I'm just so thankful for that. But my dad, he goes, hey, do you want to ask Jesus in your heart? And I was 4 at the time. And I remember standing at the threshold of my doorway of my bedroom and going, I want to wait till I'm 5. And I did that with my hand. And he goes, well, why? And I had no good answer. So that was the night where I asked Jesus in my heart. And I mean, I really think that is such a privilege to be able to grow up in it where it's real for you.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, though, it became real at different points from that moment on. But it was it was mine then. How about you?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I remember giving my heart to the Lord in my bed one night after Wednesday night service.
I love this story.
Yeah. And I don't remember the Wednesday night. We used to have family nights, and the kids would have...
At church.
Yeah, church here. And the adults had their service, and the kids had theirs on the north end. I don't know what happened to me, but I remember laying in my bed. I think I was in a bunk bed, so I was up on the top bunk bed. And I was 7 years old, and I was trying to go to sleep, and I remember like an experience of like feeling terrified about going to hell, and it was pretty overwhelming as a 7-year-old.
It became real.
Yeah, it became like, oh, this thing's real. Like, I need someone to save me. And I've obviously had heard the story of Jesus many times. We have amazing kids programs now, and we had amazing ones then. And so I knew all the Bible story, or a lot of Bible stories. And and at that moment, I knew I hollered to Mom. She came down the hallway, and
Your mom.
I said, "Man, Mom, I feel like I'm going to hell." I mean, it was just as straight up like that. And I was, okay, well, let's pray. And the moment I prayed, I felt peace come into my heart, and like that burden of sin that we carry before Christ. I felt that lift as a 7-year-old, and
Wow, as a 7-year-old.
Yeah, I had confidence in that moment. I don't know that I've really ever wavered on that level of confidence. I've certainly had questions over the years, but
Yeah.
that was an amazing moment as a 7-year-old.
Well, the other thing I know about you as a 7-year-old is you got disciplined quite a bit because you were mischievous.
That's true.
So
that is absolutely correct.
God met you in your darkest moment.
Yes. I'm guessing I have the record for the consequences in our home.
I would assume you do.
Especially the young ones. They started to get out of the consequences. They were pretty easy on them.
Parents go soft on those little ones.
Yeah. We're not going to do that.
We're not going to stay strong.
All right. That's great. What is the big marking point in your journey with God?
Yeah. I think it was around 12 or 13. It was a camp. We always did every year they do a summer camp. And so that time away from your normal TV, blah, 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 all the things. I really remember God. It was not like this big worship time. It was just this quiet, like, let's just sit and listen for God to speak to you. And I remember hearing him and being like, I heard God talk to me. And I had experiences. Like, I knew God was real. But like, where you draw the line in the sand and you're like, yeah, I'm never going to be the same after this.
Yep.
But it was when I was 13 at a camp. And for me personally, it's like, this isn't everybody's world, but for me, like, God goes, hey, I want you to switch schools. We had an academy here at the church at the time. I was attending a public school at the time, which no shade on that at all. But for me, I could just feel the tug on my heart. And I didn't know. And I had just kind of started understanding music at that point. So now looking back, I'm like, God, you're so good in how you orchestrate time.
Yeah.
But that moment where I heard him talk to me, and I remember leaving that camp and telling my parents, Mom and Dad, I think I got to go to the school, which I was so resistant to that thought before that. And I mean, that was a marking moment. And it wasn't the switch, but for me, like, my heart had just been growing hard or feeling that pull. And so I was all in at that point.
Wow.
And like, the school, like, I could do academics, but I could also just kind of tuck away during study hall time and just run after Jesus with music, because I was learning piano at that point and learning how to lead. And I mean, it just opened up so many other things. But that was a marking moment. And that was at 13. I mean, I had a lot of them along the way. 21 was another one. It's just like, I got out of performance.
Right.
With I mean, that's a whole story, but that was another marking moment. There's just been such rich moments, but that 13-year-old, like, that, hearing him say that, I was never the same after that.
Yeah. I remember you coming up to the the sanctuary we'd have a study hall. If you get
Yeah.
your homework done, they'd let you play piano, and
Yeah.
you'd be up here worshiping. And
Loud.
a few times I joined you with the guitar,
Yeah.
right? And that
Yeah.
was always fun moments.
Before school,
Right.
during study halls, if they lined up. Yeah, it was just sweet. I think a lot of us were learning music at that point too.
Yes.
And then it was just such a worshipful thing too, though we were being trained in that.
Right.
It's just that kept my feet on the path, you know,
Yeah.
because I knew that was the first way I knew personally how to find Jesus
Right.
for myself.
Right.
Yeah.
And with that, a lot of us got to travel the world and play
Yeah. Mission trips.
as young kids.
Yeah.
God was really good to us. Got us to even gave
Totally.
us pretty big stages at that point
Yeah.
to use our gifts that He had given us.
Well, in the church, like there were a few that were just championing us with that. Like worship leader Liz, Matt was the worship leader for a little while.
Yep.
I mean, my parents, they were just like, run, go hard.
Yeah.
And there was just let's just find God in worship. And they let us experiment. I mean, and I was over at an Alec at Harvest for a lot of years, and they
Yes.
held so much room for me to make mistakes, but also
Right.
just run after Jesus and coach you along the way.
Yeah.
And go like, yep, that was him.
Right.
I mean, just such a unique opportunity. I'm so thankful for.
Yeah, it's invaluable to have those people in our life.
Yes. Yeah.
Mine was probably when we would have a prophet in Kevin Leal,
Yes.
who's, in a lot of ways for us, a mentor,
Yes.
somebody we've always looked up to.
Yeah.
We had him in for probably 25 years maybe here. And
Long weeks
long-
of
right.
meetings.
Our meetings used to be like 5 days. Or,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hours.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. And so I remember that. That was probably a huge marking moment. I'm trying to think. There's multiple ones, but one specifically, I was probably 12, maybe 11. And it was probably the first time that I really felt the overwhelming presence of God.
Yes.
It wasn't just an emotion. Emotions came, but there was a certainty that there is a God and He comes and invades your life.
Yes.
There was a power that was beyond emotion. It wasn't just emotion. It was like I knew God was real.
Yes.
And that He shows up in this world. And I remember I got a prophetic word about preaching. There was a few other things that He had said, but those are a few of the things that really stuck with me. I think then He had me go and pray over some people, so it was like it wasn't just I'm receiving in the moment. I was like
Coming from your hands.
yeah,
Wow.
output too, and so that was like a moment. It's like I remember it to this day, and I don't remember a ton of things, so I know that was a marking moment. And I'm really thankful for that.
Yeah.
I think there's also a time when I, 18, 19, 20, somewhere in there where I knew I had to make the choice, okay, is this going to be mine? Am I going to make this my faith, or is this going to just be my parents' faith?
Yes.
Where I started to take the Word of God. I'd read the Word, and I've done the church thing, right? And I loved
around it.
Yeah, I was around it.
Yeah.
But I started going, no, I gotta read this thing. Is this going to be mine?
Yes.
I knew there was a choice. I could start seeing like, I can either go this direction. I knew friends that were going that direction, or I can keep following God. And so I really started taking serious prayer, Bible reading.
Yes.
And that was also really marking because it became my choice
Yeah.
and really important for me.
Totally.
So what are some ways that you've stayed strong in your faith over the years?
Yeah. I mean, I think, like you said, like we had just that environment here that it was like strong, strong words, strong, like we're strong in the word, we're running after the gifts, strong presence.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the culture just made it like it was not an option to not be passionate for Jesus. Because it's like, why would you? We saw so many great examples of people who kept their heart zealous and hungry. I mean, your grandparents, they made such an impression because they were older and in this, advanced season, and they were still hungry. Like, what's God going to do? But I would say that just permeated. That just made such an impression on me. Like, this is not just something that you get zealous about when you're young.
Right.
This is something that you can actually do the rest of your life. But I think, personally for me, like worship at a piano, whether anybody's there or not.
Yep.
Like I've always found such a sanctuary in that.
Yep. Yep.
The word, the stories, like right now I'm in Kings again. And I'm like, just you read about what God can do, and there's just this, God, do it again.
Yeah.
I'm hungry some more.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just so thankful
Yeah.
for that. But I mean, I think the thing that kept me the strongest is like, I've seen this done and I'm going to make it mine. And I refuse to think that there's anything that God is offering me that I'm not going to catch right now. I know heaven's going to be epic, but like, what can this be right now?
Right. Yeah, that's really good.
What has kept you strong?
Man, I think that if I've kind of made up my mind that I'm gonna keep myself in the presence of God.
Yeah.
And that it hasn't been a chore, it's been a delight.
Yeah.
So reading the Word has been great. I've had seasons where it's been dry. I've had seasons where like just praying just generally has been like, oh, this is tough. It almost feels like plowing or something.
Yes.
And sometimes those seasons come and go, and sometimes it's really rich with a podcast or a sermon or some pastor online, or it's always been rich here at Destiny, and really thankful for that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's conversations I need to have with a mentor. So there's different streams and ways I've experienced God, or I feel like I'm getting fed spiritually. But I think one of those, I made up my mind somewhere along the way, no, I'm going to get before the face of God, and I'm going to find his presence. I'm going to, and a lot of times it's just like, if I can turn on some worship music, a song that is maybe in my season speaking those words, that fills me up, keeps me strong. It seems like it's a lot of things, but obviously the word and prayer are like number one foundation to my faith staying strong and keep moving forward and growing.
Totally.
But yeah.
It's interesting because it changes depending upon where you're at in life. Like the single days where, and I had a big long commute. Like my car was like, every time I was in there was me and Jesus time.
Yeah. Right.
And then when we got married, it changed a little bit, but there was still that pursuit. And he's just so good to meet you when you make time.
Yeah.
And it might, like you said, like sometimes it's dry. I just heard somebody talking about like a marathon. Sometimes there's the downhill and sometimes there's you're going uphill. And so it's like keep running even in the uphill. Because like God is always faithful. Like his promise is that he's always there, and he's a well of living water. Yeah. So like the downhill's coming. Yeah.
Right. It's good.
I've had to tell myself that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Let's what's somebody in the Bible that you really admire?
Oh, there's so many good examples. Like there's so many. You want it all. I want it all.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like currently, Samuel. Like he was so faithful. He was faithful to hear. And when he heard, it stuck out to me. When he heard God the first time, it was in a time where that was not a common experience.
Yeah.
But he still heard and he listened and he was faithful to steward what God had told him.
And how old was he then?
Yeah, how old was he?
Like 7?
He was little.
Or
yeah.
Maybe,
But like the name Samuel, God, or you hear God, God hears you.
Yeah.
And then he lived his whole life faithful to that. Like he always carried the word.
Right.
Even when, like Saul deviated and then David came. I've like right now I'm like, man, you can be faithfully catching the word and just stewarding it well. And that was the Old Testament. So like there's so much more promise now. Like we're his sheep, we hear his voice. Like there's no distance. There's nothing that separates us. But like his example of somebody who just offered himself. Hannah offered him first, but then he chose in, and offered himself and stewarded that word.
Yeah.
That was inspiring of late. So.
Yeah, and the boldness at a young age to speak the truth.
Because it was a confrontational word.
Yeah. And there was full out sin happening in the temple.
Right there.
To face the high priest and his sons. I mean,
that was big.
Yeah, it was really
He
big.
was young.
Right? That's awesome.
I don't know. That was
I love it.
recent.
You know who I like in the Bible? I honestly like so many characters, but the ones that just went for it, and even if they made mistakes. Like Peter, he says some wild things, but I respect the fact that he goes for it.
Yes.
And then, so you see him just kind of like, ooh, Peter, maybe you should. Like when he confronts Jesus, rebukes Jesus, and then Jesus.
That was bold.
Yeah, it was. But then you see Peter on the day of Pentecost being the one who is basically brought a really large harvest of souls into the church at that time, going from 120 people to 3,000 plus, right?
Totally. Well, when he goes, this is, he defined what was happening because they'd never seen it before.
Yeah.
Like you could have shrunk back.
Right.
But he just was like, this is what this is.
Yes.
So good.
So, I mean, just to see him make lots of mistakes, and then Jesus meets him at the water, and it's like, and Jesus is calling him back, feed my sheep.
Yes.
And for him to come out of that shame and that low moment and then be heading up the church in a sense, or at that moment.
Totally.
And so, I don't know, I like Peter.
Yes.
He had
some good answers though along the way too.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to talking to him someday in heaven, right?
Hey, Peter.
It'll be fun. And then let's give some advice. Let's close out this. Let's give some advice to new believers. Anybody that's
Do you want to go first?
maybe newer in their faith. Have you got something you want to go?
I was thinking about this, and it's like there's so many things that are of value, but I think if I was to speak to somebody who's just coming in, go all in.
Yeah.
Don't there can be a temptation to just add Jesus to your life.
Oh.
But he's so worthy of it all.
Right.
I know this is a song, worthy of it all, but he's so worthy of it all.
Right.
And he needs to be that center. Right. And so I would just say, don't go half-hearted. Run with your whole heart. I think there can be, I don't know, there just can be, it's such a decision, but black and white, line in the sand. God honors it every time. And I would say just go all for it.
Yeah, that's good.
Say your yes,
Yeah. Let your yes be really big. Your no's are important, but your yes is even more important.
Yes.
Because we can sit and go, no, no, no. But you're kind of staring at the ditch then.
You really are.
But really look at where you're headed. Where do you want this life to end up?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. So I think we were reading that book in our core groups, Apprentice book or
Invitation
to Follow. Thank you. And he says something in there about community, accountability, I think he calls it.
Yeah.
And I know that I would not be a follower of Christ right now if I did not have the community that I lived in.
Totally.
To me, it's kind of a no-brainer. I said this a couple Sundays ago. It's where would I drop my kids on earth if I could just put them one place? I said from stage, I would put them in the middle of a community that was passionate worshipers of God.
Yes.
And so I say all that to say, have you ever heard the thing, even a dead fish can, float down the river?
Right.
Or go with the river.
Yeah.
And I had this thought about the community idea. It's so when we say, a live fish can swim up against the current. Mm-hmm. But what if you put yourself in the right current? And even a dead fish can go down the right current.
Yes.
And I feel like that's what accountability or a community accountability looks like. It's I might not have strength in me right now to run my race, but I'm putting myself in the right environment.
Yes.
So the environment's helping me go in the right direction.
Yes.
So if you just keep yourself around the right friends, you keep yourself in church on Sundays, you keep yourself in core groups.
Yes.
That will help you go in the right direction. Even a dead fish can go down the river if it's the right river, right? So get yourself in the right river.
That's hilarious.
I mean, I just that was just
Don't
a
beat a
thought.
dead fish, but still.
No, but and that I'll just say that it's like we took a trip lately,
Yeah.
and we were going on escalators, and I was telling my wife, hey, the guy that invented the escalator didn't invent it to stand on like an elevator.
Mind you, I had a baby strapped to me, and the weight and the walking.
Yeah, we had luggage and all these things, but he invented it actually to speed up the process of going upstairs.
Yes.
And everyone just parks themselves on the escalator.
How much faster could you go if you just put that into that step?
And
That's
so it's like, yeah, you could be a dead fish in a right river, or you could be a live fish and go that much quicker.
Yes.
Towards your destiny in God.
That's really
what
good.
He has for you.
That's really good.
And so I think overall, it's like, to me, I would be in the right environment.
Yeah. Passionate worshipers, people who love the Word.
Yes.
People who love each other.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you're a new believer, if you stay in your old environments,
Yes.
yeah, you might be able to make it, but there's a chance you're going to get pulled back in your old ways. And I'm not saying cut all your ties from your past, but make sure you're keeping yourself more in the right environments.
Totally.
Make sure that balance is right. So
Yeah.
that'd be my advice.
That's good advice. That's really good.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Way to go, Sam.
And it was wonderful to have you on
We
the
can
podcast.
talk. It was not interrupted. What a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So, hey, thank you for joining us today. We have other podcasts planned, and so I hope you can join us on those other ones.
Yes.
God bless you. Have a great day.